Welcome back, everyone, or if this is your first time here, just welcome. Every year I do a cleaning on all of my firearms, and so I thought I would bring you along on that journey over the next several weeks, probably, if not months, as I do my winter cleaning, looking for rust spots and problems, and just a general winter cleaning as the weather outside deteriorates. The first collection I've gonna do is the Colt firearms, the Colt revolvers, specifically the snake guns. This is going to be in the order I bought them. I have one of each model. Of course, there are variations on each model, target sights, different finishes, different barrel lengths, and on and on. Just a quick look at what I did to each one and some general thoughts on them. Of course, the first one that came out was the Colt Cobra. Nice matte finish. I replaced the grips with my own, or rather the original manufacturer of the grips is Altamont, and I order Altamont grips and put them on. I just prefer the aftermarket grips to the factory grips on all of the Colts. But the nice matte finish, they started off well. This is a nice gun, 38 Special Plus P. And everybody was very anxious to see the snake gun return. Of course, no adjustable sight, just the frame mounted sight. And it's a very nice shooter. Got everyone excited for the next in line, of course, was the King Cobra. And it's generally just a upsized version of the Cobra 357 Magnum. Again, just the standard frame rear sight, fiber optic front sight. Again, I replaced the grips. The finish is just slightly a little more gloss on it. It's still a pebbled type finish, sandblasted type finish. This one does have a little flaw in the barrel right here, and it's actually present on both sides. I don't know if it actually is going to show up very well, but right in this area, this was the first time I'd seen a flaw on a Colt, but it is there. Again, Altamont grips. And the King Cobra in 357 Magnum. Again, pretty exciting firearm. Love it or hate it. The dented trigger guard there, generally not well received, but as we move on, next in line, of course, out came the Python. Everybody wanted a Python, and out came the Python. Now you can go back through my videos and see some of the problems I had with my Python. I had crown problems from the factory. I'd ordered this, refused the gun on that basis, and they lowered the price on it for me. This one is one of the original release, so it's got the longer barrel. Of course, you can get various barrels on these now. Again, I got rid of the plywood grips. These are still Altamont grips, but they're walnut, solid walnut rather than plywood, which I prefer. Of course, I had a set of original grips on this, but I decided to go ahead and put modern grips on it and save my originals. They're rather valuable for just a shooter type firearm. And the reason I'm doing this is I think it's kind of fun to be able to see all of the firearms in one pile. Next, of course, came out was the Anaconda, and basically an upgraded version, just like the King Cobra was from the Cobra. The Anaconda came out 44 Magnum. Again, the same improved Altamont grips, walnut rather than the plywood style that they come with, the laminate style. This gun came out very nice. Crown was excellent on it. Target sights again. And I will point out that the King Cobra actually had a black front sight on it with a brass bead, and I dislike brass beads for the reason in the sunlight it can reflect off of one side or the other and pull your shots off. So I elected to go with an aftermarket fiber optic sight just like the Cobra has on it. Other than that and the grips, it's all stock. And then of course the last firearm just released, which I just did a video on, is another back to the King Cobra. And while this is not necessarily a different model, being that it's a King Cobra, it is in its own right the King Cobra 22 target, as they're referring to it. I had some G10 grips laying around, originally bought for the Cobra, and decided to go ahead and use them on this little 22. The 10-shot 22 is a brilliant idea from Colt. Again, I was back to crown problems on mine. I haven't heard of too many other crown problems from other people, if it'll focus up, but I did have crown problems on mine. It still exists to a small degree. The finish was very rough and poor on the front end. Overall, for the price of this firearm, you'd expect perfection, and it's far from perfect. It came with rubber grips, which I dislike, particularly on a 22. It's not necessary. Again, that crown. The finish was extremely rough, and it still somewhat is in this area. Does have the target sights, of course. Red fiber optic front. I really like the red ramps like are on the Anaconda and Python up there. Those are my favorite style of sight. They just work good for me. Although I do admit that the fiber optics are not bad. I would have put the red ramps on all of these, but unfortunately the sight choices are very limited out there to find and purchase. They're fairly easy to change, but coming up with them, that's another matter. So there we go. A chance to look at each model as it's been released. And that's the whole Colt revolver, modern revolver. I don't own any of the originals anymore. Those had to get sold, but so I built up my collection of the modern ones, and these are shootable anyway. Of course, we're very limited in names on Colts because the original 22 would have been the Diamondback. Of course, they lost that ability to use that name, I'm sure, because there's a Diamondback firearms now, and so they had to revert back to the King Cobra name. What's the future hold? Who knows? Will we see a Viper or a Boa? I'm not sure we will. We're running out of, they're going to start competing with themselves, as they already have. 357 Magnum, you got the choice of the King Cobra or the Python, so it's just a matter of what you like the best, and they all are very similar in their triggers, all are very similar in how they shoot, with the exception of the calibers. But there's your choices in Colts today. Of course, different variations available, as I said, so I thought it would be fun just to take a look at them in a whole pile. So thanks for watching. We'll pick another collection for next time. See you next time.